absolutely scared out of their wits when they've come back in. We are just about ready for the first event of the evening. Riders being told to watch the lights. Just waiting for our fifth and final team to move in. It is that of German and Clifford. Rev's about to come up and we will be underway. Start's going to be very important. Tape up, we are underway. A beautiful start from Andrew German, but Rick Munro appears to make contact with German in through turn number 1. They gas it down the backstretch, but I'd say it's the red of Jaden Mays and Clay Hobbs that are doing the job at the moment. They work in through turns 3 and 4, gassing it out of the final corner. Into second position now, it's Rick Munro and Shane Rudloff. In behind them, we appear to be picking up what would look to be Bill Milson and Billy Wilson, I should say, and Don Morris in the blue, but there's a fair bit of action going on for 3 and 4. Likewise, the leading spot, which is really hot up with 1 lap remaining. Into turn number 1 go our race leaders. In fact, it is German and Clifford, my apologies, currently holding down third place. Doesn't look as though Munro and Rudloff are going to be able to do anything about Mays and Hobbs. The Mildura team taking out the opening event in grand style. Good riding from them. Munro and Rudloff into second. Third place to German and Clifford. And rounding it out, Craig McIntosh and Sean McGrath into fourth position. So that will give them away and in front of central commentary, perhaps during interval. We thank Valley View Constructions for all your new home edition needs and get set for event number 2. The Throwing, a flying 3-wheel chariots getting set to duel here this evening. Road and Roach in the red from spot number 1. Collins and Bremner, the last to come in the green on the extreme outside. In the hands of the starter, who is getting ready to send them on their way, which he does around about now. We watch them rocket into the opening corner. I would say it is the Blue Early On of Headland and Bretagne that are looking the goods as they streak down the backstretch. Now into turn number 3. They'll be cruising out of the 4th turn with a handy lead. They get a little sideways. This could spell disaster. Road and Roach now tuck in behind them. Then we look back to AJ Webb and Mick Nixon, who round out the top 3. So down the backstretch they work. Field have strung out first and second, the closest of any battles. There's 1 lap now remaining. Headland and Bretagne out in front. In behind them, Road and Roach. Doesn't look as though anything's going to change as they duel their way down into the southern bend. Oh, there's problems at 3. A big incident. Let's hope both of those individuals are okay. Red light, of course, has come on, and the St John Ambulance personnel will be very quickly onto the scene.
Get it?
Roach doesn't look as though anything's going to change as they duel their way down into the southern bend. Oh, there's problems at 3. A big interesting to note as well, one of the other teams there taking evasive action and showing great camaraderie and sportsmanship, actually no-manned their chair, if you like, for the want of a better expression, just to avoid the 2 fallen riders in front of them. Just during the week is the fact that Andy Hillenberg, World of Outlaws star in the sprint car ranks, could well be coming to Australia to race round about Christmas time, along with Danny Smith, running again for Les Harrower. As we get the green flag underway now, let's see who's going to gain ascendancy through the first corner. Looks as though Michael Lukey in car number 26 is out in front early on. Rebecca Gantz has been dropped back to the last position. Higgsy's moved into second place and now begins to pressure as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. Higgsy moves up a little wider than Lukey. You can hear them fairly well revving these things as they work down into turns 1 and 2. Higgsy on the outside gets a good run. Panel to panel at the moment, but Lukey comes back at him as they work down into corner number 3. Look at this, Higgsy rubbing his racing, as they say in the classics. Higgsy all out of shape. White flag comes out. This is exciting stuff. And now Rebecca Gantz is getting back into the equation as well. So come on, mums and dads, get your children involved in this form of racing. Junior street stocks, it's good stuff. Some excellent racing here. Be tremendous to see a dozen or so of them firing around this Speedway City circuit. Out of turn 4, here's the checkered flag. Higgsy takes the win. A fine drive. Michael Lukey finishes in second. And Rebecca Gantz rounds out the 3. 4, they'll bring them up to full revs and we'll be underway. Good start from the 26 of Alan Matthews in the ex-Kim Cottrell car. Number 10 of Andrew Keane now being pressured currently by Darryl Fishlock in car number 2. Fishlock with a new car this season. He's looking to the inside of Andrew Keane, who's got the thing up near the concrete. At this stage it is Alan Matthews, who has stepped up from the street stock ranks. A good move. He wants to forward his Speedway driving career. And he's decided that he's got the funds to do so, and full credit to him. Not the word detracting from the street stock ranks for a moment. Alan Matthews controlling that Pontiac nicely as we look back to the number 2 of Darryl Fishlock. Andrew Keane now being relegated back to 4th position. Joan Miller beginning to feel some pressure. Back behind them in position number 5. They're currently holding down 3rd place. Looks to be the 31 of Steve Johnson. Number 27, Warren Meester's come through. There's the 28 of Chris Larrett. Paul Zetas in 14. And also the 43 of Gil Worthley with the number 69 of Dave Walsh currently at the rear of the field. Pretty good pass there from Worthley. Has rounded up both Chris Larrett and Paul Zetas. Zetas not confident enough to go around the outside of Larrett as they work their way now into turn number 1. But it's back to our race leader, who now has 3 laps remaining. Cross Keys Crash and GTR Mechanical. Alan Matthews driving a treat here early on. Of course, did start on the front row of the grid, but nonetheless he's still leading by around about 1/4 of a lap as they come through now. 17.53 with 2 laps remaining. Alan Matthews out in front, the number 2 of Darryl Fishlock in 2nd position, the number 31 of Steve Johnson in 3rd, then the number 10 of Andrew Keane holding down 4th. One driver has spun out of 4, it was Chris Larrett. But he now is back underway. So it's just about checkered flag time now. If he can just make it around the next couple of corners. Alan Matthews in 26 will take a heat race victory. Well done, Alan, good stuff. 2nd place to Darryl Fishlock in car number 2, with the 31 of Steve Johnson following them through into 3rd place from Andrew Keane 4th, 27 of Warren Meisner for 5th from Joan Miller. Then it's the number 43 of Gil Worthley from the number 14 of Paul Zetas, and the time over 8 was 2 minutes 21.
They couldn't get the bike started. Problems with the bike after the accident in the previous heat. They seem to think the carbs are fueled up and unable to start it. Here we go.
Thank you, Lee. Tapes up, we're underway. Pretty rugged start as they work into turn number 1. Few of the pairs very close indeed. In fact, the 4th place pair into turn number 1 coming out in 2nd place and now challenging for the lead. Turn number 3, it's very close. It's handlebar to handlebar stuff. German with the Castrol signage aboard the fairing has now been dropped back to 2nd position. McIntosh and McGrath are the pace setters here. Smart piece of riding. As I mentioned, they were last into turn number 1, but they got a great line coming out of 2. They roared into 2nd place, and then they were able to take the leading spot in through turns 3 and 4 aboard a chair that is up for sale. So if you've got the courage, if you think you can handle it out there around a Speedway circuit on one of these 4-cylindered beasts, or mostly 4-cylindered beasts, go and have a chat to our race leaders, perhaps after the deal is done. Through they come in, taking it out in fine style. McIntosh and McGrath coming through, doing it beautifully. German and Clifford following them through. And it looks as though we've got an 18.22. Team 170 is AJ Webb and Mick Nixon in the white. 22 is Rick Munro and Shane Rudloff in yellow. Watch for them. And 64, Jaden Mays and Clay Hobbs. So watch the 2 teams on the extreme outside. This is where the action could come from as they dump the clutch and go racing. Munro gets a beautiful hole shot and will lead through turns 1 and 2. Following him very quickly is Mays and Hobbs as they work down the back, and have a look at the Mildura combination, serving it right up to Munro at the moment. as he gasses it out at turn number 4. On a hiding to no one, these two youngsters. They really want to give Munro and Rudloff a hard time here this evening, as they give it everything down the backstretch in front of the Speedway City sign. The gap beginning to increase a little bit. Remember, Rick Munro, he's pretty hot at the moment from his big assault up in North Queensland, but the pressure is coming. Rick Munro and Shane Rudloff in the yellow, currently out in front. AJ Webb and Mick Nixon appear to be rounding out the top 3 at the moment, but it's our race leader who holds around about 6 bike lengths, crosses the line, becomes the provisional winner, the 22 of Rick Munro and Shane Rudloff. Mays and Hobbs in behind them. Then it's the white of AJ Webb and Mick Nixon, and in behind them, Anthony Collins and Les Bremner. Rounding out the pack, the Matthews boys, we look for the time, 55.5. Yep, start has just come into hand as I speak. Number 11, Rocky Caruso from 7. Well, the greens come out. Steve Stewart jumps into the lead as they work through turns 1 and 2. Launer and Vaughan, a couple of old modified sedan runners locking horns in turn number 3. Let's see what Vaughan can do here. Continues to run very close to Launer. Beginning to move up is Bill Miller, Stephen Murphy as well in 74. Murphy gets up the inside of Launer. He'll claim 3rd spot. Yes, he does. And have a look at Vaughan. He's gassing it at the moment. He desperately wants to get past Steve Stewart. Well, who knows what's going to happen this season. I can tell you one thing. Steve Stewart has dominated Super Sedan racing for the last couple of seasons, ever since he acquired that ex-John Soary's machine, the Camaro, but perhaps they are beginning to queue up for a shot at Steve Stewart's glory. Steve Vaughan, the first of them. Murphy also on the gas. Vaughan looking good. He had a bit of a chance there up the inside, but opted not to go for it. And this is good racing. Murphy now shows a good turn of speed. He gets up the inside of Vaughan and claims 2nd. Good driving from the Smurf. Yes, he's moved through. Smurfy into 2nd. Let's see what he can do against Steve Stewart now for Dry Creek Wreckers. Murphy with a gaggle of sponsors. He's got the faster car in this event. No doubting that. He's already broken clear from Vaughan. As they charge down to turn 1, here goes Murphy up the inside, and he's taken Steve Stewart. So a beautiful pass that. Let's see if he can hang on. As I said, he appears definitely to have the better setup, at least in this event, as they charge out of pit turn and down into turn 1 again. Steve Stewart, not used to being passed. Generally when he's out in front, has been able to streak away over the last season or 2. Notice a few sparks coming from Darryl Launer's number 21 car. But through goes Smurf once again. Steve Stewart in tow. Then it's Steve Vaughan, Darryl Launer, Bill Miller, Rocky Caruso, and a rather tentative Kim Cottrell at the moment. Miller sideways. He's spun coming out of 2. But the checkered flag has fallen. Stephen Murphy, a tremendous job in the win. 2nd place to Steve Stewart. Steve Vaughan for 3rd, Darryl Launer 4th. 5th place Rocky Caruso, 6th place to Kim Cottrell. Championship. And back here again on Monday the 29th of December as we get ready for a start. Trevor Green away very quickly. Mark Gilbert follows him, but the caution light's now on. So caution lights have been pulled. The drivers get out of the bucket. Trevor Green, pretty exuberant, gets shown the flag. Running over there, the TW team. Of course, the Jeff Swindle operation, but not using that at the moment. They come out of turn number 4 and get ready to stand on it. That's what happens now. Trevor Green in the red number 4 machine for Adrad Radiators streaks away from Mark Gilbert. Dennis Burford there in 3rd place. Darryl Bottoms currently rounding out the pack. Through goes our leader at 13.44 first up. Goes in fairly wide. What a racy track for these V8 sprint cars. As they charge around once again. There's a 12.98 from Trevor. So he's getting quicker. Beginning to wind up the old rubber band. Let's see if he can get down to a 12.70 this time around. There's a 13.08. Mark Gilbert following suit. But Trev by far the quickest driver out there. There's Darryl Bottoms currently battling with Dennis Burford. 12.64 from Trevor Green. 12.64 seconds. That's better. They're showing more track speed now. 12.50s were as fast, I think, as we saw last Saturday. There's a 13.3. So just hovering from the low 13s to the mid 12-second bracket. Gassing it down the main chute at 13.11. Certainly a huge speed difference between our race leader and our third and fourth place drivers. Through comes Dennis Burford, Darryl Bottoms in behind him. And Trevor Green coming up to put a lap on them at 12.96. So this is pretty quick. Comes up behind them. Looks to go underneath Dennis Burford. Does that. He's coming up behind Bottoms now. Let's see what he does. He'll pick his way past him. No, I was going to say on the inside, but he won't do it that time. A 13.72. Oh, I thought Trev was going to take the doubles there for a moment. Sent Scotty McIntosh at company scurrying as he charges down the back. It's going to be well outside the 10-lap track record pace, but he did get balked there for a moment. As the checkered flag waves, it's around about 2 minutes 13 or so. So approximately 5 seconds off race record pace there, but a pleasing result nonetheless. For the Adrad Radiators Freightmaster Lakes Resort Road and Track Services, Green Welding sponsored J&J chassis, driven of course very well on that occasion by Trevor Green. 170 Main North Road, Blair Athol. Revolution race gear. Street stock action about to come your way. 8 laps will be the distance. For Mavis Racing, the number 48 of Maris Velots has begun brilliantly. Some pressure begins to come from the number 5 of Sam Brumfield, who will try and slip up the inside in the third corner. Not sure if he'll be able to get the job done. Yes, he will. So Sam Brumfield going quite nicely at the moment in the Falcon. He looks underneath Mavis. Tucked in behind them is the 41 of Brian Chadwick. Chadwick might get past the pair of them who've run up wide. Yes, he does. Passes them in one foul swoop. So good stuff. Mavis now trying to carry momentum around the outside of both Brumfield and Chadwick. He'll get one of them. Don't think he'll get 2 of them. Brumfield getting good drive here, keeping the foot right in the bucket. Brian Finlay lurking ominously back in 4th place. Was in pretty good form here, Mavis, continuing to go on with the job. A more consistent street stock driver would be pretty hard to find than Mavis. The City Dismantlers and a heap of other sponsors. Of course, when you talk consistency, another man to fall into that category is Brian Finlay in the Sigma. Ever since he debuted that car, has been very quick, straight off the trailer, always presented impeccably. And he now will try and get past one of his arch rivals in the shape of Maris Velots as they work into one. Mavis just persisting with that mid-track line. Brumfield down the inside. Maris got a bit taily coming out of 2. They're going to swamp Brumfield here in 3. It's good racing. It's 3 wide. Maris gets up near the concrete. Finlay forces his way through on the pole line. And that is the deal. Finlay to 2nd, Brumfield back to 3rd, and Velots back in 4th place with Chadwick. All out in front and all by his lonesome, putting a lap on the 87 car driven by Alan Rutledge. For Just Commodore Spares, Brian Chadwick. Rockets past, Brian Finlay now chasing him. Then it's Brumfield from Velots, and the 49 of Wesley. Then the number 8 of Andrew Clayton for Cross Keys Crash Repairs. Number 99 of Peter Ware comes past. The white flag is now out, 20.28 seconds. Maris Velots begins to have a final crack at Sam Brumfield. If he just hold it down a bit tighter coming out of 2, he could be a chance. I think that's what happens. Maris is clearing the Commodore. He'll bring it down a little tighter, I would imagine, for 3 and 4. Being the smart driver that he is. Brumfield comes back at him. I think Maris will just hang on to that 3rd spot. The win has gone to Brian Chadwick. A good result for him with Brian Finlay second, Maris in for third, Brumfield for fourth, with Neil Wesley rounding out the five. Looks out the situation, the racing about to get underway. Heat 2 of the street stocks, coming out of turn number 4, the starter having a good look at them and has decided to send them on their way. Number 10, Justin Jenkinson, the monkey hits the front. The 119 of Paul Hayes very quickly tries to move into second. So down the back chute they travel. The 61 of Neville Glasbrook beginning to move into position as they come now out of turn number 4 and rocket down the main chute. Glasbrook beginning to put some pressure on Paul Hayes. Hayes in the 119 vehicle, Glasbrook up near the concrete wall. The 90 of Peter Taylor beginning to move through as well. The 16 of Terry Sloan. Number 54 of Kevin Bickle in the Charger. Then it's the 71 of Paris Charles, but for the moment, it's definitely the number 10 of Justin Jenkinson. He's got a commanding lead in this one, currently out by around about a quarter of a circulation. As he continues to work mid-track, gets a little bit crossed up out of 4, but recovers okay. As he charges down the main chute once again. Paul Hayes in 119. The 61 of Neville Glasbrook in behind them. Then it's the 90 of Peter Taylor. Taylor, let's see what he can do here. Hayes has gone very close to the concrete, comes down, very nearly makes contact. He's all sideways, almost lost the plot completely, but now manages to regain some sort of composure. Driving the Cortina as he exits turn 2. Perhaps he's got a tyre that's gone down. It's looking quite smooth, and now he's all over the place. But anyhow, it's the monkey Justin Jenkinson continuing to lead in car 10. Neville Glasbrook in second place driving car number 61. But he's coming under lots of pressure here from Peter Taylor in car number 90. Oh, look out into turn 1. Cars going in all directions. A couple of our observers sent scurrying. Of course, always a precarious situation. Well, at least our finishers are protected tonight by that big tabletop. Seen some interesting moments down there in the past. There's the black flag. It's gone out to Paul Hayes in 119. But the field work their way, or at least our race leader does, past the start-finishing line. The number 10 of Justin Jenkinson, the monkey, appears to have tamed the circuit in his opening heat of the night, the second heat of the street stocks. 61 of Neville Glasbrook, the ABS-sponsored machine under the hammer here from Taylor. Taylor's going to give it everything. He goes mid-track. Oh, gee, the 61 of Glasbrook's moved up wide. He's given Taylor an opportunity down to the wire, but it's Glasbrook just over Peter Taylor. There's your top 3. And the time over 8 laps is 2 minutes 47. So the mark at Darren Matthews. Combination as the tapes go up. Action underway. So it's AJ Webb and Mick Nixon that gain ascendancy here through the first couple of turns. Anthony Collins trying to come back at them. They're neck and neck down the back chute. Into turn number 3. Very close stuff. Fairing to fairing at the moment, but I think it's Anthony Collins that will come out in the lead, or will he? No, it's AJ Webb and Mick Nixon that continue to give it everything they've got. Running about a bike wicked up from the gutter at the moment. Storming down the back chute. The Mark and Darren Matthews team just dropping back a little bit. So through they come, now with 2 laps remaining. Les Bremner and Anthony Collins in second place, but your race leaders doing it quite easily at the moment. AJ Webb and Mick Nixon. Keeping that throttle twisted almost right around to the stop. They embark on their last lap of racing in this event number 12. The sidecars, B final. The Mark and Darren Matthews combination comes through, but the easy victory in the end will go to AJ Webb and Mick Nixon in the blue as they come into turn number 4. Give them a cheer as they come through. Second place, Anthony Collins and Les Bremner. And coming around now to round out the field will be the Mark and Darren Matthews combination. From 3, German and Cleveland in the wide from 3. Rev's about to come out. A final to come your way. Tapes are up. Good clean start. Let's see who's going to take the lead. Munro appears to have nailed the whole shot as they work through turns 1 and 2. Rhodey and Roach dropping back a little bit in the green helmet colours. Action very close for positions 2 and 3 as they wrestle for traction coming out of turn number 4. German now drops back in 3rd place. We can see Rhodey and Roach now beginning to make their presence felt as they roar out of turn number 2, the yellow helmet colours. As they dive into the 2nd turn, they're going for a mid-track pass. Let's see if they can do it. German and Clifford providing the opposition here as they run neck and neck into turn number 1. Oh, terrific stuff here. Thankfully, as far as Rick Munro and Shane Rudloff are concerned, they are well clear. And here comes the charge from Rhodey and Roach. They've passed 2 of them. Magnificent stuff from them. Rhodey and Roach, a team on a mission here as they work their way out of the 2nd corner and now we're charged down the back. Munro certainly with it well within his keeping, although he's drifted a little wide there coming out of the final turn. Now the checkered flag unfurling, Munro doing the job. I would say that Mays and Hobbs actually got into 2nd, so my apologies on that one. And German and Clifford getting through into 3rd place, so a terrific ride in the end for Jaden Mays and Clay Hobbs. Some of these sidecar teams, but we would certainly urge that you give them a cheer, especially our winners who are about to take the checkered cloth on the stick. Come on, folks, let's hear it for Rick Munro and Shane Rudloff. A great ride in the final. The Mildura team, of course, finish in 2nd spot. Number 64 entry. Hobbs and Mays gave it everything, but it's Rick Munro and Shane Rudloff's night in the A final here this evening.
Also on January 4, there looks to be 4 to 6 Western Australian junior streak stocks coming over to Speedway City for the big State of Origin night. Also on that night, we've got the South Australian versus Victoria Formula 500 series, so another State of Origin battle there.
They come around pretty well in line with the pit gate. Our steward will assess whether or not he lets them go. Of course, Mr. Carl Hansen on this occasion. Around they come. Yes, he's hit the green light. He said go for it. Let's see who's going to make the best start. Rebecca Gantz away nicely, but the 26 of Michael Lukey in the lean, mean green machine. Looks as though he's going to gain the top spot out of the 2nd turn as he gasses it down the back. So the 13 of Gantz in that new car, as our roving reporter mentioned, now being dropped back to 3rd position. Higgsy has come through, the 14-year-old in car number 66 for Ken's Exhaust. He's getting some support from Highlander Crash as well. He didn't quite catch the full sponsorship on the side of the car. So it's lined up once again for Michael Lukey and Brendan Higgs to go for it over the last 2 laps. The track here is around about 430 metres in length, 1 metre out from the pole. 22.61 seconds. As I pointed out earlier, powered by stock 1200cc engines rather. There's plenty of boys and girls having a lot of fun in these cars, although we'd like to see more in this state. It would be good to see the WASA Challenge a little later on in the season as the white flag comes out. Well, the 66 of Higgsy, he's moved right up behind Michael Lukey once again. So he's poised to pounce in the 3-4 turn, but he's just lost a little bit of time down the back straight. Lukey looks to have him covered here if he holds a good economical line, although Higgsy charges at him, but not enough. That's the way they finished, with Rebecca Gant over a full-blown race car, and he has been the driving force behind it all across the East Coast. And he's trying to make Australia's newest Speedway division a huge success. So they've been given the green light here. Basically powered by the stock standard Holden engine, the 253, and the engine's of course interchangeable. That's what they're aiming for. So as we spoke about last week, if you figure your fellow competitor's got a better motor than you, well, you can go and take his motor and give him yours. As I said, for an outlay of 10 grand, guy can immediately start turning laps in a purpose-built V8 race car. Not enough grunt to really get himself into a whole lot of trouble, but certainly still reasonably quick. As you can see, 19.3, and they're still coming to grips with the track. Remember, it's the first time they've been here. They've been stuck out in the heat. broken down at Canalpin or somewhere like that all day this afternoon. What a way to spend your afternoon out there. Probably 45 degrees in the shade, I would think. So as I said, really pushing the V8s, and around about 5 or 10 grand. That's all you need. Get involved. Dale Matthews, you can talk to him down in the pits. In fact, you might even be up here in commentary to talk a little more about these cars. See some of them very sleek as they work their way down the back straight at the moment. Now, Bob Furlong is the other driver out there, the Vic 94. Later on in the season, Lake Matthews is hoping to bring a full field of these things over here for a race meeting. They are fully scheduled, but they've come across here tonight to make everybody aware of what the AM car category is all about, and hopefully to get a few of you interested out here this evening that perhaps we're looking for a bit of a new alternative. It's a new class, and remember, they are just coming to terms with the track. So now the two Mildura teams getting set to lock horns with Munro and Rudloff. Let's see what's going to prevail. A one-lap dash about to come your way. Great start from German and Clifford. Look at them go at it in turn number 1. Rick Munro said, no way, fellas. You could fight over second and third. I'm going to have the lead, but they're coming back at him in 3. Have a look at this. Sensational, a big dive. Looks as though German on the Castrol sponsor machine will win. Yes, it's cutthroat. Munro and Rudloff shuffled back to third, if you don't mind. And they're getting ready to have another crack at it here. This time Munro having a go from the middle. So he'll be the meat in the middle of the sandwich. German getting the inside run as they dump the clutch and go for it. Munro's thing appears to hook up a little better, but it's German and Clifford. They've got the inside running. Here goes Mays and Hobbs. They've gone through on Munro again as they work down into 3. Let's see whether the other Mildura team goes for the outside. Munro pushing it, shoving his way through. German and Clifford again. Well, the results are the same. German and Clifford. Jaden Mays and Clay Hobbs from Mildura assuming the inside starting spot. They'd be keen this time. Of course, the rider I should say, with everything to lose here. Rick Munro, extreme outside. Gets close to the tapes as they go for it now. Mays and Hobbs away nicely on the inside, but Munro and Rudloff tuck in behind them. They look to be struggling out of 2. So through goes German and Clifford. Munro and Rudloff now come back at our second place team. They go for a big outside move. They won't get there. Jaden Mays and Clay Hobbs sample the win. Andrew German and Stephen Clifford for second. And of course, third place going to Rick Munro and Shane Rudloff. Tape now being removed, so give them a wave as they roll down the back. The two Mildura teams, they've travelled a few hours to get here. As they get ready to go green, let's see whether Joan Miller's going to get the drop on them. I think she will, but here comes the big challenge. They're going in all directions at the moment. The number 2 car of Darryl Fishlock has begun quickly. He's moved into third place. Gil Worthley travelling well from rear of field. And another driver travelling quite well at the moment would look to be Alan Matthews, currently in 5th place. This will be a big test. Started up the front in the first heat. It's coming from mid-pack this time. I'm sure Dave McNabb, one of our leading scribes here at Speedway City, would agree that it certainly is tops to see the Super Sedan ranks really flourishing this season. Through they come. I think we're going to be in for some tremendous A mains, especially if we have a couple of situations. I don't know if this is going to be the case with some of the faster drivers coming from rearward starting positions. We should see some great passing. And look at the 2 of Fishlock. A beautifully planned pass, roared around the outside of Joan Miller and said, thank you very much, Joan. I'm going to relegate you to second position, and there appears to be no stopping him now. Number 31 of Steve Johnson looks for an inside run on Joan Miller. Matthews getting towy as well. Yes, through goes the 31 of Johnson. Joan Miller there in third. Matthews battling it out with Keane. Tucked under the rear spoiler of Joni Miller at the moment. Matthews decides to go the long way around the outside of Joan Miller. It was a good ploy, and it's earned him position number 3. Gil Worthley working the high line as well. There's certainly plenty of drive up there if you're brave enough to hang the big right rear up on the high line. You can be rewarded here tonight. Through goes the 2 of Daryl Fishlock. The 31 of Steve Johnson. And the 26, Pontiac Firebird, being driven at the moment by Alan Matthews in 3rd place, with the 7 of Joan Miller in 4th. Gil Worthley looks as though he's forced his way up to 5th. Going great guns here. Worthley looks to go around the outside. Got the Corvette working well. Joan Miller's gone straight into the fence in 1 and 2. Something appeared to break there big time. That car just turned to the right hard and went straight into the concrete down in turns 1 and 2. Well, Gil Worthley was for Valley View Constructions, was just putting a pass on Joan, and Joan just, her fate in the lap of the gods there, because something, in my opinion, has definitely broken, and that car went straight on. You can see the tyre tracks, and he's all right after that very heavy shunt with the concrete.
The track, she is A-OK. Looks like a steering rod broke going halfway through the corner, turned us directly right into the wall. Front end damage, especially front right. All the steering is fairly badly damaged, and also the dip is all out of line after it hit the concrete wall. So I don't think we'll see Joan out here again tonight, but as I said, Joan is A-OK and smiling about it.
67 of Steve Vaughan was pretty quick in the opening heat. The starter says, go for it, fellas. Caruso away well, Cottrell in behind him. 74 of Stephen Murphy there as well. He too was blindingly quick in the opening race. Rocky Caruso a little bit loose coming out of turn number 2. For the uninitiated, of course, that's oversteer. Down the main straight now into 1. Rocky Caruso leading the way. Kim Cottrell second. From Stephen Murphy, Bill Miller, Darryl Lowner, Steve Stewart, Steve Vaughan, and Ian Layson in car number 34. He has fronted in this one. Perhaps he had a mechanical problem in the opening heat, which prevented him from getting out. Down the back they go. Cottrell beginning to get the feel of that brand new Pontiac machine. Great body kit on it. It's a 96 model. Stephen Murphy in car 74, currently sitting around about 4 or 5 car lengths in arrears of Cottrell, who lets it all hang out down the back. But it's Mr. Consistency, Rocky Caruso in car number 11 for Auto Salvage Auctions, New Spot Motors, Active Motor Wreckers and Spies Hecker. That leads the way. Caruso with around about 3 car lengths on Kim Cottrell for the OG Speed Shop and many other sponsors. There's a 16.65 with 3 laps remaining from Rocky. Bill Miller in 4th position from Darryl Lowner, Steve Stewart, and the 67 of Steve Vaughan, followed by the number 34 of Ian Layson. 16.64 seconds for Rocky Caruso. He's driven very well in this one. Certainly beginning to edge clear from Kim Cottrell and company. And interesting to note that Steve Stewart still nestled back in behind Darryl Lowner and appears unable to do anything with Vaughan tucked in behind him. Into 1 they go. Stewart now beginning to wind things up. Lowner making that thing pretty wide, but the checkered flag has fallen for Rocky Caruso. A good effort. 2 minutes 13.84. Looks as though Kim Cottrell's had a bit of a moment there. I didn't quite pick it, but Stephen Murphy in 74 appeared to have snuck through into second there, right on the death knell. In the hand, Rocky Caruso, you unofficial 8-lap track record. He was honking. We'll see what happens. There's 8 on the board. I'd just suggest having a look at the 8-lap track record, jot it down, and keep a close check on the Speedway City scoreboard. 145.5 is the mark. As we go green, and Trevor, the number 4 machine, rockets out of the second turn. Bottoms tucks in behind him in car number 35, Dennis Burford. Just a little bit pensive early on. There's a 13.43. Trev just lifting the inside front wheel a little bit coming out of the second turn. Running around about mid-track at the moment. Hooks up well out of 4. There's a 13.02. Round turns 3 and 4, leaving the other two drivers in his wake with a 12.94 that time. Now into turns 3 and 4, staying on around about mid-track. Hooks up well, engine sounding good at 12.73. Beginning to wind it up now. Getting it down, yes, staying on the same line. Very consistent at 12.69. Couple of laps remaining. The old 8-lap record could be in some danger here, folks. Believe you me. Remember last time, Trev did come up on the back of Bottoms and Dennis Burford. There was a 13.07 for the J&J chassis. The green team watching on from the pit stand. Crew chief, of course, is Mouse Darryl Green. 12.94. Down into turn number 3. Comes up behind Dennis Burford. Looks as though he may claim the record. Yes, he's got it. 1 minute 44.49. The old mark was a 1:45.5. So he's got it. 1 minute 44.49. Looks as though another record has tumbled. So down the main straight, show some noise here for Trevor Green. Fantastic, a new unofficial 8-lap track record. Just the way you want to warm up, I'd get. Ready to rumble with the street stocks. Event number 3. Brian Finlay got away very well there from the pole in the main north crash. All Suburbs bitumen sponsored Sigma. Andy Clayton tucks in behind him. Commodore working reasonably well at this early point. Brian Chadwick, he's there in position number 4. Neil Wesley's gone around the outside of him. There's the 5 of Sam Brumfield in the Falcon. Looking distinctly like the Alan Matthews car from last season. I'd have to check on this. I don't know whether Dave McNabb knows whether that is the Alan Matthews car. Wesley's turned it around down the back chute. Yellow lights are on. Appeared to perhaps have made contact with another driver. Didn't quite pick the tyre incident. In the pan deal here, we've got some pretty experienced demo derby drivers that know what it takes to try and nurse your cars through this kind of battle. Should be a great contest. Event 26 on the program. Looks like a full restart on the way here for the street stocks. Brian Finlay has begun where he left off. Andy Clayton tucks in behind him. And it's Brian Chadwick in 41, Neil Wesley in 49. Sam Brumfield in 5, Alan Rutledge, Maris Velots. And in behind them, the 99 of Peter Ware as they roar down the main stretch. 19.8. So Brian Finlay pretty well on the gas here. Sub 20-second effort's always quite impressive. A couple of Commodores about to duke it out for 2 and 3. Our leader gets a little wide there. Let's see whether 2nd and 3rd can capitalise. They do make up some ground, but not enough. Andy Clayton's in car number 8. The 41 of Brian Chadwick's right in behind him. Clayton a little bit taily. Chadwick looks to get up the inside of him into turn number 3. Let's see what prevails here. Looks as though Chadwick will get the better run out of turn number 4. And sails past the Cross Keys Crash GTR Mechanicals Commodore of Clayton. Good to see Andy showing a bit more speed this week out. Looked to be a little down on speed for some reason last Saturday night. The 5 of Sam Brumfield, the Falcon, charging on from 4th. He now has a good look at Andy Clayton coming out of the final turn. Clayton tries to fend him off, which he now does. Momentarily, I must add, behind them it's the City Dismantlers Commodore Maris Velots from Neil Wesley in 49. Then the 99 of Peter Ware and the 87 of Alan Rutledge. 2 leaders really going for it now. Finlay seems to run very wide for some reason coming out of 4, giving Chadwick a great chance. Chadwick staying down low. You can see the drive coming out, especially low down through turns 1 and 2. A lot of traction on offer here. Out of the final turn, now down the main straight. Brian Finlay driving the 36. For Main North Crash, All Suburbs Bitumen and many other sponsors. The 41 of Brian Chadwick continues to chase him. The 5 of Sam Brumfield in the Falcon 3rd. Then the 8 of Andy Clayton, the 48 of Maris Falotz, the 49 of Neil Wesley. Peter Ware and Alan Rutledge who rounds it out. Maris Falotz pulls infield as the checkered flag falls on Brian Finlay in car number 36. A top drive from him. Brian Chadwick finishes second. Sam Brumfield for third. From Andy Clayton fourth. And Neil Wesley who rounds out the top 5. An 8 lapper. Look at this. The 2-wheeled Tyros coming out for some more fun. The BMX Brigade. A lot of these riders, as Mervyn Thomas has alluded to, of course he's our guest commentator this evening for the BMX Brigade. A lot of these competitors have forgone a night of racing at Happy Valley, I think it was, to be here tonight to put on a bit of a display for you. If you didn't catch their performances a little bit earlier on tonight, just sit back and get ready to enjoy some of this, because they'll perform a few tricks and stunts on the double jumps.
Kim, you've debuted the car tonight, and let's see how we go in the Trophy Dash draw. Kim Cottrell starting out position number 2. Rocky Caruso. Rocky Caruso, new lap record holder, pulls his marble out. Number 3, inside second row for Rocky Caruso. Up to Stephen Murphy here. Stephen Murphy in the purple. Pulls out a marble. And the pole sitter is Stephen Murphy. Big Billy Miller up here, Blair Athol Auto Parts. He's about to pick a number out, and he's tipped number 6. And what has he pulled out? Number 6. So Billy Miller, rear of field for inside second row for Daryl Lorna. Stevie Stewart.
Yes,
Won't even bother drawing. He's accepted position number 5, so there we have the draw for the top 6 point scorers for the Super Sedans, and this race will decide the starting positions in the feature. So
Stephen Murphy inside front row, Kim Cottrell outside front row, Rocky Caruso inside row 2, Daryl Lowner outside. Inside row 3, Steve Stewart. Outside, Bill Miller in car number 77. The Smurf was in great form earlier tonight. Took out heat number 1. Still waiting to see Kim Cottrell grab a win aboard the brand new Pontiac. They're about to light it up out of turn number 4, and we'll be underway for 6 laps of Super Sedan action. Cottrell sideways on the start. They'll swap him up the inside. That's what happens. Lowner looking good. Some fiberglass flying everywhere. And Steve Stewart's on the march. He'll look up the inside here, but Daryl Lowner is the real mover and shaker early on. Smurfy's got him covered down low out of 4 as he powers into 1. Steve Stewart now moves into 2. Lowner tries to come back, and he gets good drive out of the second turn. They're side by side, and Lowner takes him. Steve Stewart's had a problem. Steve Stewart heads for the infield. Something is certainly not right within that big Camaro. Cottrell heads for the infield, and he too looks as though he's going to park it. Bit of a hairy moment for a couple of our officials, but at the moment it's the 74 of Stephen Murphy looking extremely good out in front as he powers down the main chute. The engine pulling hard. There's the 21 of Daryl Lowner in second place. The 11 of Rocky Caruso holding down third. Bill Miller, sure if it's a new car or just revised bodywork at the moment, in 4th place. Kim Cottrell has gone back out onto the track. Perhaps it was just a lose. Maybe still coming to grips with the new car. Rocky Caruso off the track, and Bill Miller looking very worse for wear. He was the driver that lost the fiberglass. The white flag about to come out. The old 6-lap record, well, the current 6-lap record is a 1:40.8. Stephen Murphy works turns 1 and 2. Daryl Lowner's in hot pursuit. It's going to be nowhere near it, I don't think. Well, it'll be a couple of seconds adrift anyway, as the checkered flag falls. Give him a cheer as he comes through. Stephen Murphy drove a grand race. The 21 of Daryl Lowner gets there for second. Bill Miller for third. Rocky Caruso finishes fourth. Kim Cottrell backs up to fifth. Time is 1 minute 43.
How are you feeling for the feature, considering we're coming from near as it's fastest to the rear?
That'll be all right. Something different, got to chase the other guys down, but that'll be right. Thanks Speedway City for putting on this event. Thanks to the other place getters. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. And in second place, the 21 car of Daryl Lorna. Daryl here for Movieland and Sawkers and Enjoy Coca-Cola. Daryl, second place in the dash. Car's looking good. How are you feeling for the feature?
Hopefully still goes as good as it did then. Just thank John Sawker for a good motor.
Thanks for that one, Daryl, and all the best for the feature. And the Murph, Stephen Murphy, taking out the trophy dash, which means he will actually start from the rear of the feature. So look with some quick cars moving through in the feature. And Stephen Murphy, good race for the trophy dash.
Thanks very much. Actually, I'd like to thank Speedway City for putting the night on tonight and for sponsoring the trophies, the crowd for turning up, for making it a good night, and the rest of the competitors. Hopefully we can have some good clean racing as well.
Thanks for that one there, Steve.
Eyes on the boys here, or will it be either Lukey or Higgsy? We're about to find out. Green flag forthcoming. Lukey on the hammer, a little quicker than Higgsy as they work now into turn number 1. All three drivers here at 14 years of age, as I mentioned. Great way of getting young drivers into the sport of sedan racing. Of course, many of you know that there are a lot of dirt karting events around South Australia, but as far as getting the feel for genuine speedway, this is a pretty good class, the junior street stock category. And as the gas man pointed out a little bit earlier in the night, it could be quite a big challenge with Western Australia's best coming over to have a crack at South Australia's best later in the season. We'll look forward to that. Remember, next week the big fireworks spectacular here at Speedway City. But at the moment it's Higgsy, Brendan Higgs, looking good. He's on the inside. Lukey tries to round him up around the outside. That's Michael Lukey in car number 26. Down the main stretch, white flag is out. Watching the scoreboard with interest here, the pair of them running fairly close down the back, but it looks as though Michael is going to take the honours here. He can just keep it fairly tight out of turn number 4. The checkered flag should be within his grasp as he comes through and does the job. A pretty good drive that. Higgsy finishes in second, and following them through, of course, the number 13, driven by Rebecca Gans. It's not a huge field here. You can see on the 4th row both Finlay and Chadwick, both there ready to pounce on those ahead of them. Chadwick gets away well, looks up the inside of the 10 of Jenkinson. Well, the bonnet's flown up there on the 8 of Andy Clayton. The red's been pulled. Nasty situation. And thankfully they all managed to miss him. So rather an embarrassing moment there for the number 8 of Andy Clayton. Okay, ready for the green flag this time around. Peter Taylor on the inside front row with a chance here. Comes up against Sam Brumfield in 5. Starter getting ready to ignite them into action. That's what happens. The drag race, the Tirana versus the Falcon into turn number 1. Brian Finlay way up high, trying to follow Neville Glasbrook through. Chadwick on the other hand has stayed down on the inside and will get a run right past about 3 of them. Good stuff. Oh, Taylor's crunched into the concrete. So the yellow is out once again. Once again, it'll be interesting. Perhaps something did break. It certainly did turn right in a hurry, a la Joan Miller. Then Brian, Chadwick and Finlay moving up through the field. Gee, if they keep going like this, they'll be on the front row within about 5 or 6 attempts. Here's the green. Chadwick again threads the eye of the needle. He's moved through to second position. Finlay's gone for that outside line. Glasbrook just in his path. Cars going in all directions down the backstretch, but Chadwick, by virtue of his great start, already into second place. Someone around, lucky not to go over. That was Wesley. In car number 49, Neil Wesley. So the caution light on once again. I was only joking, mine. Let's hope he doesn't end up on the pole for a restart in 3 attempts as we go green. Brumfield on the hammer early. Brian Finlay, I would think, would want to go with Chadwick here. Sloan gets a little sideways in front of him. They manage to go around the outside. But it's Brumfield in the Falcon, car number 5, that leads them at the moment as they approach the notorious 3-4 turn. Somebody else gets a little bit sideways there. Brian Chadwick now to the inside in through turns 1 and 2. Brumfield still your leader. Finlay will get a good run here. Chadwick just thwarts his efforts. And Neil Wesley begins to move through. He is up now to 4th place. Glasbrook there in 5th. Kevin Bickle having a better run in 6th place as he goes at it with the number 16, driven by Terry Sloan. Into 1 and 2 again. Chadwick, a superb outside run. Good momentum aboard the Commodore, and Brian Chadwick for Just Commodore Spares doing his sponsors proud here. The Sigma driven by Brian Finlay, staying fairly wide on the track. Brumfield continues to hold down second just for the moment, but Finlay will be determined not to let Chadwick get too far away. Down the back chute, turn 3, an opportunity for Finlay. Both he and Brumfield appear to almost lock horns, but Brumfield holds sway in the second spot with 11 laps remaining. Very quick lap times being posted by Brian Chadwick at the moment, a 19.78 on the previous lap, 19.78 seconds. Finlay continues to work the outside line on Sam Brumfield as they gas it down the main stretch, and he's finally worked it to perfection. Brumfield tries to come back at him now, but Brian Finlay appears to have his measure. Through goes Alan Rutledge and Terry Sloan having a crook old duel. Paris Charles sideways again, almost right in front of our leader. Lines up now for the double jump, just avoids it. Oh, I'm sure that was an anxious moment for our leader Brian Chadwick as he came down the straight, faced with a side-on view of the Paris Charles 71 entry. But through comes Brian Chadwick now, 20.41 second lap. It's a little bit slower. He's coming up to some lap traffic, and Brian Finlay will sense that. He'll want to put in some quick laps here so that he can be half within striking distance of our leader. We all know that anything can happen in lap traffic because drivers quite often are wrapped up in their own battles, their own duels, and get quite absorbed in that, and occasionally can balk our race leaders. But Chadwick roars straight up the inside there of the first slower car. He's coming up behind the next one, which is car number 16 of Terry Sloan. Makes it around him okay. Finlay quite a distance back. Brumfield smoking and making up some ground on Brian Finlay. Then it's Neil Wesley, followed by Kevin Bickle, Neville Glasbrook, and Peter Ware. Paris Charles appears to have spun in turn number 4. But Brian Chadwick, well and truly clear here. Brian Finlay is also clear in position number 2. Sam Brumfield continues to chase in 3. That would leave Neil Wesley in 4th, Kevin Bickle going well in 5th, Neville Glasbrook in 6th place, Peter Ware in 7th. Four laps now remaining, 20.16. The 15-lap feature, this one. Current 15-lap record held by Maris Velots, 5 minutes, 0.5. Brumfield challenges Finlay in through turn number 1, the Falcon, finding a second wind here. Finlay trying to stave him off out of turn number 2. He's done so for the moment. All of a sudden, Brumfield slowed right up. Looking for our race leader, and he now has around about a half a lap. Well, it's a bit under that, actually. Brumfield now has been flagged to the infield. Black flag, which means pull to the infield. Peter Ware's in some trouble here. Car looking very bent up, appears to be dropping some fluid. Has made some form of impact. Through comes Brian Finlay, but not travelling quite quick enough to dislodge Mara's Velotz's name. For the record books, problems for our leader. Just scrapes the wall and comes through and hangs on. Good stuff to Brian Chadwick. Just Commodore Spares, number 41 entry. Brian Finlay finishes second. And coming through to finish third should be the 49 of Neil Wesley. Unless I'm mistaken, Neville Glasgow coming through for fourth. We expect them to pick up their work rate midway through this turn. See a couple of the back markers getting pretty towy to get on the hammer. And there's the green. Look at them come from everywhere. Rear of pack, they'll really fly now. It was an unusually slow start. In fact, one of the slowest that I've ever seen. Early movers through the field. Well, obviously the race leader, it looks as though Steve Johnson in the 31 car has begun brilliantly. Johnson's in front. Zetas is into second. Steve Stewart's already up to fifth. The big black Camaro coming through the pack like there's no tomorrow. And right in behind him is the 74 of Stephen Murphy. Murphy will not want Steve Stewart to get out of his sight. He knows that Stewart won many features for that matter here last season. Hasn't been on fire tonight, but he's charging through the field. Stewart up to third. Launer pulling to the infield with some bodywork hanging off the car. As Paul Zetas now is in front. There's some trouble out of four. Cottrell spun the car. Big cloud of dust, but he rejoins. And look at Steve Stewart down the back. Back into his customary leading position. Cottrell heading to the infield. Just manages to get off the track in time. Steve Stewart in front. Paul Zetas in second. Steve Johnson in third place. Stephen Murphy now trying to move up to fourth position. Behind them, Alan Matthews. From the 77 of Bill Miller, Matthews sideways. Bill Miller's overtaken him. Rocky Caruso now is moving up behind him quite quickly. You really have to put down that start to pure experience. Steve Stewart getting a tremendous jump. He could sense that the green was going to come out in a real hurry, and he certainly did. Sink the boot into it just at the right time. He won the first feature event last season, and barring any mechanical problems or a mishap, he appears set to win this one. Rocky Caruso and Alan Matthews engaged in a heated duel. The pair of them go past the 69 of Dave Walsh. Bill Miller coming forward through the pack as well, driving pretty well. He's just past the 31 car of Steve Johnson. Paul Zetas in 14 comes up behind Ian Layson, lunges underneath him. Stephen Murphy continues to run in third. 16.70 for Steve Stewart. He's in full flight and doing it beautifully. That's what it's all about. Remember, he started out of 15, position number 15, and was in the lead within about 5 laps of the race. Stephen Murphy continues his pursuit of Paul Zetas. Bill Miller beginning to close in as well, so Billy the Kid could be a rough chance. Rocky Caruso coming through the field. He's closing in now on Bill Miller. Our race leader has already begun the tour of lapping slower competitors. Paul Zetas, definitely his hands full at the moment. If he had rear vision mirrors, of course, they'd be full as well with the front spoiler of Stephen Murphy, 74 car. Murphy up the inside of him, should power past down the main straight. He doesn't. Zetas shows some good resilience aboard the IROC. Good stuff. Murphy slowing up Caruso and Miller. Closing in. Here goes Rocky up the inside. Miller stands on it with everything he's got, but Rocky has managed to pass him. Rocky also goes past Stephen Murphy and is absolutely flying now. Here's his chance on Paul Zetas out of turn number 4. We're watching with great interest. Our race leader, he's nearly a half a lap in front, but Paul Zetas really coming of age here in this feature. Rocky now switches to the outside. Chris Larratt coming up in front of them. Let's see what happens. Zetas gets a better run. Rocky now tucks it back on the pole line. Stephen Murphy there with him out of turn number 2. So the quartet draw down the backstretch. Johnson, Matthews and Vaughan engaged in their own duel for the minor placings. Well, there's some trouble coming out of 4. Larratt has spun. Caruso's lost a couple of spots. And the yellow light has come on. Now, folks, this is just what the doctor ordered if you were part of that 4-way freight. Dry Creek Wreckers, West Orange Dyno Centre and Adelaide Discount Mufflers. Paul Zetas now moves up. Rocky Caruso's moving up. Stephen Murphy. Stephen Murphy, the U8 lap track record holder. Rocky Caruso. Looks as though Rocky's been caught napping, or are they going green? No, they are not. They are not going green. Thank goodness there for Rocky Caruso. Anyway, our race leader gets on the gas. This time they've gone green. So Steve Stewart away beautifully. He'll be determined to pull away from them over the last 4. Let's see if Stephen Murphy can throw everything at Steve Stewart here. He passed him, I think, in an earlier heat race. So he'd be confident that he can do it. Rocky Caruso closes in on Bill Miller. Rocky would be fired up by the situation. He gets loose out of 4. He can't quite do it on Bill Miller. All 4 of them going great guns here. Go for it, Bill Miller. Let's see if he sinks the boot into it. Goes for an outside run on Stephen Murphy. He's side by side. He's got no option. I say gas it and go for broke here. Rocky's on the inside of him. And Steve Stewart beginning to edge clear. He's got a couple of lengths now and extends that on Stephen Murphy. Rocky Caruso rips an outside pass on Bill Miller. Alan Matthews running in 5th place. Wide flag is now out for Steve Stewart. There's a lap car here. Murphy goes to the inside. Rocky committed out wide. Bill Miller lunges underneath it, takes Rocky Caruso. A brilliant pass there from Miller. He gets a bit of understeer. Rocky comes back at him, but Steve Stewart's the victor. Stephen Murphy 2nd, Bill Miller 3rd. 4th place, Rocky Caruso. A fine 5th for Alan Matthews. 6th, Steve Vaughan. 7th place to the 31 of Steve Johnson. Green. Remember, it can be red flagged. The Stewart's deemed that a driver is in jeopardy, his safety is in jeopardy, they can red flag it. Oh, look at this, main straight, bang! Couple of big hits from a couple of trusty old wagons in their day. Couple of valiants, and look at this, the 28 not dying yet. You'll notice the smart guys will run in reverse. I can see he spent a lot of time. He's had the car down in the paint shop for many, many weeks to prepare for this contest. Really cares, he'll be after the big dollars here. There's Darren Good in 013. Pape is still going. Pape in the Dick Johnson green colour. Former Dick Johnson green colours. Sierra days and of course beyond that. Still travelling, I think the only green vehicle. Oh no, there's another one. Khaki green down here in front of me, 06. That's Mick Broham. Broham, yes, good hit. Oh, the Crusher. The Crusher just involved in a bit of a smooch at the moment with Darren Good. A couple of seasoned campaigners, but I think Good's lost a fair bit of fluid here. Could be in some real trouble. Here comes Pipe. Oh, Pipey! What a hit. Massive impact there. That was good stuff. And he just made that hit on Joe Garner. Well, I know you're probably all hanging out to see one roll here, but we're not too sure whether it's going to happen or not. Fortunately for those of you on the back stretch, most of it appears to be happening from turns 4 through turn 1. Got the pink HG or so just cruising past us. Ian Brooks, that is, in 26. Here comes the 42. Colin Webber still going. Webber in 42. Not looking bad. There's a fire down the main stretch. Papey's on fire. It's been red flagged. The women for wheels will be on the scene very quickly. Pape emerges. I think he's okay. He's okay. What about a cheer for Pape? Well, that's the quickest way Papey could have waxed his legs, I'm telling you. But he's okay. He's just having a quick chat with the Women for Wheels of St. John. All right, we're getting ready to go, Reen.
Just before we go back down here with David Pape. And David, you've done it. Putting Glen records off teams.
Yeah, we see.
Thanks, Dave. Oh, the effort.
Yeah, well done, Pape. Well done, Dave. Good stuff. But it's come to an end now, unfortunately. There's the Crusher and Darren Good, inseparable at the moment as they waltz their way down into turn 1. Here's the 76 right in front of me. Glenn Crittenden. The Crittermobile. Yes, he's fired it again. He'll be after the 08 of James Garner. He's lining him up. Oh, Jimmy, just a little too nimble for him. Looking good. Here comes Good to the main chute. This could be big. No, bit of an anti-climax really in the end. Good was after the Crusher of Colin Webber. Couldn't quite manage it. See a bit of action starting to happen. Turn 1 could be a goer. Yes, nice one. Good stuff. Here's the 87 of Andrew Gribble. The Crusher continues. Colin Webber. Look at this thing coming at us. Don't know what it is. 06. Mick Broham, 06. Look at them coming at him. Yes, Jimmy Garner with a nice one. There's a flash of a red. I think the stewards have deemed that somebody must not have made a hit within 2 minutes or something. They black flagged him. They black flagged the 06 and we're green once again. Maggie Tobar as he actually continues down the main chute. Can the Crusher do the job? What about Jimmy Garner? Not a bad one for the Crusher. He just tagged him there down the main stretch. Okay, we're trying to pick up who's left. The Crusher in 42 is still there. Crusher still going. Who else is going? 80. Joe Garner. I think Jimmy Garner must be floating around somewhere too. So the 80 of Joe Garner. I have to grab the binoculars. We're looking for the 08. Where is he? The 08 of Jimmy Garner. Well, it looks as though he's stationary, trying to get going, but Colin Webber in the Crusher, he's looking the goods here at the moment. But Webber now having trouble. He's just made a pretty big impact down there in turn number 1. He's struggling to drive it away. Somebody else just trying in vain to reverse out of that carnage spot.
Down here looking at the Weber car. He's having trouble getting the rear wheels onto the ground there, John. It's being lifted up by the 87 car. It's free now.
He's away. Well, Weber's away. Someone else is away. The driver that he just made the hit on is just crawling away. Like a cockroach, and Weber's going to try and step on him here. I see the Garner Brigade. They're desperately trying to do something down in one, but I think time could beat them. No! Joe Garner's away, or is he?
The car number there, John, is 87, Andrew Gribble, that's hooked up with Weber. So
and Jimmy Garner,
that I can see still in the running.
Hey, Lee, I think it's the 08 of Jimmy Garner that's going again. Could this be? Yes, it's definitely the 08. Someone else has emerged. It's the Garners, Joe and Jim. And we're trying to pick the other one down there. The Crusher's in some trouble. He's having trouble finding any gear. Whoa, turn 2. So it's the 28 serving it up to them here. Darren Warnock. Oh, the Crusher's going again. Who's for the Crusher? So it's a 4-way joust. So they hang on. Somebody's being shown the black flag. Someone's being shown the black. Must be a time infringement. I think that was the 8-0 of Joe Garner. I think it was Garner that incurred the black flag there. Weber is still cooking here. The 42 machine. Looks as though he's after Jimmy Garner. I said Jim could be the goer. Is it Garner? I think it is. Weber after him. So here it is, folks. Jim Garner versus Colin Weber. A couple of guys that have been in many demos. Weber tries to finish him off. Can't do it at the moment. Now he's turned him around. Jimmy Garner's going to have to back out of this one.
Just have a look under the Garner car, John. See the tail shaft is going round and round. It's sort of half hooked on the back there, so let's see how Garner, if he can move from here.
Crusher! Oh, has he finished Jimmy Garner off? That's the big question. Someone else is just moving, but I think they've already been excluded from it. The Crusher can sniff the dollars here. He can envisage his bank balance going up. Oh, he hits the double jump. No, he doesn't. For the 80 of Joe Garner. The red's been pulled. Got a feeling that the Crusher, Colin Weber, is going to be declared the winner of the Demo Derby. Yes, let's hear it for Colin Weber. How about this? The car's still well enough for a victory lap. Take that, he says to the rest of them. Unbelievable. We might even run it in the next one day. And look at the speed he's showing. Unbelievable. Able to perform a victory lap in around about 25 seconds. Well, Weber's rolling down through turns 3 and 4. He's coming down. Magnificent job. Certainly richer for his efforts as he drops the checkered flag. Well, that may be it. We thank you all very much for coming out tonight. Remember the Fireworks Spectacular next weekend, and lots of good racing to come your way throughout the season. Let's see whether the gas man can have a quick chat to Colin Weber or not. May just have a brief one.
Down trackside here, John, with the Crusher, Colin Weber. You've been in many demos here, Colin, and also Murray Bridge, I've seen you up there as well. And how do you do it all the time?
It's a long time between drinks, and I'm glad it's here tonight. So.
Thanks, Colin.
Thanks very much, Lee. Good job, and well done to all officials once again. As I said, we thank you for coming out. Have a safe trip back. Those of you that have come from interstate, I know there's quite a few competitors here tonight from Mildura and quite a few fans from Mildura as well. So take it easy on the way home. We'll see you here next time. Thanks.